So today we've slammed this Suzuki Sierra. As you can tell, it looks awesome. Around the other side it didn't quite work so well. I don't know why. The instructions weren't very clear. The back's even worse. And our fuel tank now has a leak. Yeah, God knows what happened. It's pretty bad though. So today my dad's Suzuki Sierra seems to have contaminated fuel, seems to have E10 in it or some blend of ethanol. So it keeps fouling a plug and not running right. So just going to drain the tank, and unfortunately, in Suzuki's wisdom, they didn't put a drain plug on the bottom of the tank. I really don't want to pull it out, so we just disconnected the filler hose, and then inside there's a little butterfly valve. It's like a one-way thing to stop people siphoning fuel. So this is how we're getting around it for now. And I somehow doubt we're going to get away with not having to pull the tank out, because that fill point is quite high. There's still all of this tank probably still full of fuel. So we got at least 10 litres out, maybe 15. The thing probably takes 30, so we'll likely have to pull the tank anyway. Alright, so this is my dad's 1996 coilover Suzuki Sierra, and started running a bit weird the other day. We've been playing around with it a little bit, and we think the head gasket's blown. So if we just pop this open, take a look under there, looks pretty convincing to me. So I'm going to pop the head off and see what we can find. So I'm pretty sure it's cylinder 4, because you take the spark plug off and it stops firing, so it's probably just wet. But yeah, it's running like a dog. So we'll start with intake apart. So there's water lines on it. The fuel pump probably come off. Disconnect any vacuum lines that we don't need. Coolant will have to get disconnected and drained. And then undo all the bolts holding it to the head, pull that off. Then on the exhaust side, we'll undo the flange bolts down there, so we might soak those, undo all the heat shield bolts, undo all the manifold bolts that bolt to the head, pull that off. And then we'll have to get under the timing cover, have a look what's going on there. Hopefully it's a belt, because they're easy. Disconnect that, then take the rocker cover off, undo all the head studs, pop the head off, and then we'll inspect the head gasket, clean the surfaces, get a seal kit, and reassemble it all. So hopefully it takes just a couple of days, but I'll keep you informed. Alright, so I've pretty much got the intake manifold disconnected from everything. So water lines, all the electronics, all these vacuum lines are disconnected where they need to be. So there was like one here, another one going to the dizzy, all that sort of stuff. All the fuel lines are disconnected. Fuel line is this one here. And the fuel pump itself is not actually connected to the intake manifold, so I'll have to disconnect that at a later date, but I don't want to do it right now. Water lines are off, there's one there. The vacuum for the brake booster's off. There's a really tricky water line under here. That one there was fun, but it's disconnected too. And all these wires are all off. So yeah, pretty much. There's another little vacuum line. Let's see if I can get him off from somewhere. And yeah, then I just have to undo all 8 bolts or whatever it is, 12 bolts that's holding it on, and then its intake manifold and carburetor assembly should come straight off. Alright, so the intake manifold is all disconnected. I'm going to try and pull it out with one hand now, so this should be interesting. And I think it's going to be pretty heavy. We'll give it a go. Oh, look at that. First try. Alright. So, it looks like this has been off before, because this bolt here was a 13mm while all the rest were 12s, and it's got Permatex everywhere. You can sort of see it here, and it was still on the bolts. So there's a bit of a dribble of it down there. But yeah, I suspect someone has been in here before me. I wonder why. I wonder if that contributed to the blown head gasket. It looks pretty grotty. So you can see this water hose I had to disconnect, and this one over here I also had to disconnect. And then the fuel line. Yeah, this gasket's pretty much cactus too. I was always going to buy a whole set of gaskets, but it's interesting to see what sort of condition it's in. It's like, almost looks like asbestos, like cardboard or something. Anyway, we'll move on to the exhaust side now. So I've just come over to start taking the exhaust side off, and I was taking the heat shield bolts off. Rookie error, broke one, always happens. But anyway, I decided to start undoing this, and I put a spanner on it. It was very loose. Look at that, so loose I could actually turn it with my fingers. Same with all of them. As I say, that doesn't turn. There we go. Look at that, loosening with my fingers. This one was the same, loosening with my fingers. Loosening with my fingers. So much so to get down in here. Where are we? There's a bolt under here that is out practically. I don't know if you can make that out or not, but it's not in at all. So whoever did a very bad job of putting it back together, and I honestly don't know how we didn't have a massive exhaust manifold leak. But we'll see what the gasket looks like. Alright, so I got the exhaust manifold off the head, and this is the exhaust gasket starting from the front to the back. So the bolts that were in there were 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. These two were missing. All of these were finger tight. This one was completely out, not a thread holding it at all. That one was the only one that had any sort of tension on it, and it only seemed to leak from the front and the back. And then on the other side, it's actually pretty good. Best gasket performance I've ever seen. I can't believe that didn't leak more. Amazing. Alright, so pulled the radiator out and all the belts off so we can get it the harmonic balancer, so I can set it to top dead center before I go pulling any of the timing gear off. So some more things that I noticed that clearly someone else has been in here before me. This bolt was actually missing. This one here was really loose. I didn't end up having to take it out, but I took it out anyway because it looked like it was about to fall out. So I'll have to redo that one. This side looks okay. All the bolts seem to be in there. But yeah, just more things that are a little bit too dodgy for my liking. But anyway, I'll show you setting top dead center in a sec. Alright, so pretty much what we're going for is a little white dot to line up with the 0. So if we rotate it clockwise, there's the little white dot. Bring it up. Going for 0. Oh, well, we went past it. I pull all the plugs out, so just go back a little bit. And that's probably close enough. I should really go further and then come back at it from this way, but I'll probably have to redo the whole thing anyway, so this is just close enough for now. I have no idea if it's on cylinder 1 or cylinder 4, but it's close enough. Alright, so I've got the harmonic balancer off. Turns out this one you have to unbolt those 5 bolts to get the pulleys off the front, and it's not really even a balancer at all. It's just wait for the motorbike. The timing gear pretty much is the balancer, I guess. So yeah, you just got to make sure that's all lined up. I guess the motor's 180 degrees out. Whatever, I'm gonna have to change it anyway. So I'll loosen this, pull the belt off, and then start taking the head off. Alright, vice grips are attached, and just like that. Alright, so I got the water pump off. Just check. I'll put that in park. Alright, here we go.